In the year 161 AD, Rome was the most powerful empire on earth. At its center sat a man who ruled millions. Yet slept on a simple bed, wore plain clothes, and wrote private notes to himself about humility, death, and self-control. His name was Marcus Aurelius. During his reign, Rome faced war on multiple borders. Plagues killed thousands. Betrayals came from within his own circle. And yet, history remembers Marcus not for cruelty or ego, but for calm, wisdom, and restraint. At night, after commanding armies and ruling an empire, Marcus Aurelius wrote in a journal. Not to inspire others. Not to publish a book. He wrote to discipline his own mind. Those writings later became Meditations, one of the most powerful Stoic texts ever written. Marcus understood something most people never learn. True power is not control over others, but control over yourself. That philosophy was Stoicism. What Stoicism really is? Stoicism did not begin with Marcus Aurelius. It began 300 years earlier in ancient Greece, founded by Zeno of Citium, a man who lost everything in a shipwreck. With nothing left, Zeno turned to philosophy and discovered a radical idea. You don't need external success to live well. Later, Stoicism was shaped by Epictetus, born a slave with no freedom. Seneca, one of the richest men in Rome. Three men. Three completely different lives. One shared belief. Stoicism is not about being emotionless. It's about being unshakable. It teaches this central question. What is truly within my control, and what is not? Epictetus said, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not." Stoics divided life into two categories. What you control. Your thoughts. Your choices. Your actions. Your character. What you don't control. Other people. Outcomes. The past. Death. Most suffering comes from trying to control what was never ours. A Stoic doesn't waste energy on complaints. He invests energy in response. Why people turn to Stoicism. Stoicism didn't spread because it sounded good. It spread because it worked. People adopted Stoicism for one main reason. Life was unstable, unfair, and often brutal. In the ancient world, death was common. Exile could happen overnight. Wealth could disappear instantly. Slavery was legal. War was constant. People needed a philosophy that didn't depend on comfort. Stoicism offered something radical. A way to be free even when life wasn't. Slaves adopted it because they couldn't control their bodies, but they could control their minds. Emperors adopted it because power didn't protect them from fear. Soldiers adopted it because tomorrow was never guaranteed. Epictetus, a slave, and Marcus Aurelius, an emperor, followed the same philosophy. Why? Because suffering doesn't care about status. Stoicism was not luxury thinking. It was survival thinking. The dichotomy of control. Epictetus taught, some things are up to us, and some things are not. People adopted Stoicism because it ended in a conflict. You control your thoughts, your judgments, your actions. You don't control fate, other people, outcomes, death. When people stopped fighting reality, suffering decreased. Stoicism gave people clarity in chaos. Stoics understood something timeless. Pain is unavoidable. But panic, rage, and despair are optional. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your judgment of it." People adopted Stoicism because it transformed pain into training. Hardship became a test of character, not a curse. Emotions and self-mastery. People didn't turn to Stoicism to escape emotions. They turned to it to stop being ruled by them. Anger destroyed families. Fear destroyed decisions. Desire destroyed discipline. Stoicism taught people to pause. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That pause gave people freedom. Why death mattered. Life was fragile. People adopted Stoicism because death was always near. Memento mori, remember you will die. This reminder didn't weaken people. It sharpened them. It taught, don't waste time. Don't fear opinions. Live with intention. Marcus Aurelius wrote during war and plague, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your judgment of it." Stoics believed pain is inevitable. But self-destruction is optional. They trained themselves to ask, is this unbearable, or merely uncomfortable? What virtue does this situation demand? Instead of why me, they asked, how should I act? Emotions and self-mastery. Stoics didn't deny emotions. They denied emotional chaos. Anger comes from expectation. Fear comes from false beliefs. Anxiety comes from imagined futures. Epictetus reminded, men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them. Control your judgments, and emotions follow. Stoic daily practices. Stoicism was lived daily. Negative visualization. Remembering that everything is temporary. Voluntary discomfort. Training the mind to endure less. Nightly reflection. Reviewing the day with honesty, not guilt. These practices build mental armor. Remember death. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily. You could leave life right now. Not to fear death, but to respect time. Death clarifies life. Stoicism today, same reason, different world. Today, life is still unstable, just quieter. Anxiety replaces war. Distraction replaces famine. Comparison replaces exile. And for the same reason people adopted Stoicism 2,000 years ago, we need it now. Not to control life, but to control. Stoicism survives because human nature hasn't changed. The world is loud. Life is uncertain. Suffering is unavoidable. But strength is a choice. You don't need to control the world. You only need to master your mind. That is Stoicism.